Credits related.
Isn't that cute? But it's wrong!
I've been anticipating this game for about almost 2 years now, and I was honestly surprised it blew up the way it did, because usually no one gives crap about the games I like. Nothing wrong with that, it was kind of very surprising. In fact, it's at the point where people are saying if this doesn't win the Game of the Year, it's gonna be a shock. And honestly, I do kind of agree with them. Just really didn't see it coming. All I hear when people play this game is either I don't like turn-based or I hate the turn-based but love this. In the rare, it's just like my classic JRPGs. Personally, I've never been like a huge fan of turn-based myself, and then also we had RPGs like 20 years ago, and I think like it was actually mostly it was that, and I just played a lot of crappy RPGs too, so that played a big hand in it. Then I think Kingdom Hearts was one of the first games that brought me back into RPGs. Kingdom Hearts and Star Ocean, but those were action RPGs, so like they were a bit different. So I played almost exclusively action RPGs, with a few exceptions. Like, for example, Digimon Story, Persona, Dragon Quest XI, Sea of Stars, and the new Yakuza games. And if you like those. I still won't say I'm like a huge fan of them, but there are plenty of exceptions to the point they kind of prove against the rule. Same with never caring for first-person view, yet I still love Dishonored, Fallout, BioShock, Resident Evil Village, I wouldn't say, oh, hell yeah, you're gonna love it. Because you may not. Like, I actually know somebody who, they started the prologue and didn't finish it because they hated the gameplay. They said they hated the combat. And, like, I want to say, you'll get used to it or something like that, or that's a shame. But I could probably say the same thing about games they love and I don't really care for. So, it's just perspective. If you weren't sure if you may or may not like it, I'll say as far as like getting the right way, that maybe just wait. Because like you could like pay full price for this and just hate it, and it's just like by wasting my time. And like you could like spend you could like really put some effort into it, maybe like play 6 to 7 hours of it, then you're like, oh, this is pointless. I hate it. There's no reason to even, why did I do this? Just cause hype. And of course, the problem with this is that you can't really watch gameplay for this either, because one, the most important thing, spoilers, because I just might watch somebody else's gameplay. Everybody's at their own point in the story. Like unless you like to watch like the very beginning stuff like that, you're gonna be spoiled by something. And the second thing is, there's so many times when you watch gameplay of a game and it just looks boring as crap. Like it's terrible in almost every way. Then you play it and you're like, yeah, I'm into this. It's like sometimes things you don't really get justice just by watching things, and so honestly, if you feel like you want to take that leap, you probably won't be disappointed. But like, same time, if you're like very hesitant, I would say at least like wait a little bit and then like wait for stuff to calm down. Like maybe even just like $10 cheaper. Who knows? Just get it done. Now, there's a lot of turn-based with quick-time events like Legend of Dragoon, Sea of Stars, the most recent Like the Dragon games, etc. But they don't take you to this level. Like, you have to dodge or parry to survive some attacks. Some bosses are actually designed to one-hit kill you with certain attacks unless you dodge or parry. So they kind of force you not to stay idle while the game's playing. I mean, you could like boost your health up, but even that to a certain point, it only does so much. And like all the games I mentioned, like they don't do that as like they have stuff like you could like press this button to reduce damage and stuff, but there's nothing like as a full-on avoid attack or full-on return the attack each time kind of thing like this does. And without Spore, when you get more and more than just counter and parry later on, like 10 hours later, you'll still be getting stuff, and then more and more options to block, and then bosses mix things up with like a whole bunch of like dodge. You have to like parry, then parry this way or parry counter that way. Oh, they're doing this special attack, you have to counter that way too. Then it makes it up in like all these different like varied ways that you're just like, wow. And then after that, you'll think, oh man, that's 5 attacks. They're probably done. No, they'll add like a few more like special ones because fuck you. And you know that's just like you gotta handle it. But the good thing is, of course, like that helps like build up a break meter, which is sort of like Sekiro in a way, because you break their break meter, and you're in control for a little while at least. Some bosses are pretty much impossible until you do break them. Like they'll expose weaknesses, or like they'll like their entire strategy will change. Let's say like they do something with one of your allies. As soon as you break them, that thing will like go away, or maybe like their move changes after you like destroy a part on them or something like that. And like a few of the bosses were actually designed just like to stay like that until you break them. And there's even a whole type of enemy in the game that as soon as you break them, their health just drains pretty much. Then other times you go, I'm just gonna kick your ass with overwhelming force, okay? And that works. Not all the time, but it does work. There have been a few bosses that float, and you can't really do much. You're expected to shoot at them because most like 90% of your attacks will not like hit a floating enemy. And for some reason, some that is gripe of mine is that they did not add range attacks. Like I feel like if you create an entire enemy class that floats, and you only have one attack that's a guaranteed hit, but that's the most basic shooting attack. You need some sort of range to at least like counteract that, or like do like maybe have the range cost the same amount of thing. I don't know, but I feel like they just kind of like could have done some more there. And outside actual turn-based part, you have a lot of different weapons that have different elements and passive abilities. And there's Pictos and then Lumina, which is they're all skills and everything you get as well. You can alter battles by basically changing all these up into different ways. Some heal while you parry. Some will like every time you attack, this happens or something like that. And it just really changes the game. Like it's never just I have this, I attack you, and that's it. No, there's a whole like layer of stuff that you should pay attention to. You don't need to, because I know some people don't, but like it will sufficiently just change the game. And like there's just so many ways to just alter everything, but like changing like one little bit here or there. And then of course, because it is a party-based game, like if like you do enough that like, the right way, you have synergy. I've created accidents synergy like a few times to the point where I remember like near the end of the game, I just changed a few things. Like I had like a few different pigtails for some characters, and then I just became kind of broken for a little while. Like it was. I would use big moves, and then it would completely refill my AP gauge and everything like that. It's just a little bit of changes here or there, and then I just became overwhelmingly powerful. And honestly, just if you experiment like that, you get rewarded. If you just decide, hey, here's a level 24 weapon with maybe like a few thousand damage, and that's it. And that's all you're gonna get. But if you decide to get the one that crits every 4 turns, or every 4 hits, and then with each crit, you automatically like get AP back or heal an ally or something like that. Then you get a pretty decent build, a pretty interesting build and everything, and work from there. The story was very well made. You can see some of the twists coming and some not really, but of course that's what it should be sometimes. There were some things that even happened at the start of the game that I kind of expected to happen much later on. So that I kind of like that very much. It didn't restall for the sake of it. Unlike some other games I played before, it's just like got the meat of the story right away. And it wasn't just stuff. It was just bloated for content purposes. Just didn't just have all these filler ideas just tossed in there for no reason. There's one thing I did have an issue with. It's pretty much kind of a plot hole. Anyone who has seen the game, watched the game, like anyone who remembers the cutscene before the Living Waters boss fight, they might have an idea of what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to spoil it. Just like that's just kind of, yeah, I don't know. Apparently the game did have a different plot before, like finishing up, and they've gone through like a few different plot points and everything during production the entire time, which is rather normal. But for some reason they decided to keep this plot point in the game. So at first it's fine. I don't know if it's supposed to be red herring or not, but then by the time you finish the game and you see the whole story, you're like, why was that in there though? There was no purpose for that. And yeah, so that kind of struck a chord with me. Yeah, because it's not really perfect, but it's still a well-made game, well-made story at the end of the day, which is what's really important, honestly, because I don't care if something's perfect or not. I just care if it's good. And a lot of people will tell you, "Oh, you're gonna cry a river in the first 20 minutes," and that certainly was not the case with me, because I actually knew, because honestly, as soon as I started the game, I was like, "This is gonna happen." I just it took me like a few minutes. I was like, this is happening. This is what's going to happen. And it did. So I was like, I'm not surprised. Moving on. Now, there are going to be several times where you will be surprised. There are a lot of different emotional beats that gets hit by the end of the story, especially when you get used to everybody, the plot, like all these things that people have gone through. So you're more emotionally invested. You might have better reason to feel like cried or whatever, feel some sort of emotional weight on you later on. At the beginning, not so much for me, but like I said, everybody's different. Some people may feel that way, some people don't. So I can't really judge on that. And it was a little bit of an emotional roller coaster the entire time, which is kind of good. Because what these writers didn't know is that you can't just have depressing crap after depressing crap the entire time. There were moments of levity. There were moments that they had create a small breather for both the characters and the audience, and then the other times they just okay, let's give them a little bit of lightheartedness to make them feel better, and that as a result make the viewer feel better. And a good story is when you blend those all together. And I feel like this did just that. Now, the most important part of the story, characters. This game had a pretty stellar cast, star-studded, with lots of people. Charlie Cox, Jennifer English, Andy Serkis, Ben Starr, and those are just a few of the bigger names that I can think of right off the bat. But they all did a magnificent job. They're fleshed out, known to be serious and fun, work well with one another, react to things like a normal human should. Finding favorite characters is actually hard to do sometimes, because there isn't just a character that's considered universally terrible, because their flaws are evened out more than the pros. You can see all the motivations people have, even if you don't agree with them. In fact, to be honest, by the end of the game, I not only understood the final boss's reasoning, but by the time I beat them, I really agreed with them more than I did the main characters. Like I wasn't like the main characters are wrong, but I'm like, you brought up very good points, and you even showed examples of why you're right. And yeah, I cannot be mad at you right for this. Every year for me, there seems to be a standout soundtrack that just blows others out of the water. Last year, mine was Stellar Blades because that soundtrack was phenomenal. And like 2 years ago, I'd say it was Final Fantasy 16. There are some other good soundtracks, like Another Crab's Treasure had the good one, Hi-Fi Rush was another good one, but those two like stood the most out in the last 2 years. And Expedition 33 is no exception. It will stand out for this year. A lot of people will mention, yeah, this composer, he was just some dude they found on SoundCloud, but yeah, it really does go to show, like, you don't need a fancy studio to make good music. He's just good at what he does, and in this case, that was doing making good music. So they put him on the team, and he shined like a diamond. Like, there isn't really much to say much more about it than that. Like, the soundtrack's varied with upset, somber, and intense tones that match the situation perfectly, and really like set the mood. I mean, remember there was this glitch around the start of the game when I faced the first boss and I didn't have music, and the first attempt I failed. And second try, music started playing. I beat that boss's ass. Because music matters. And this man, he knows what he was doing. I've done research into what he is. Apparently he has done about 154 songs for this game in the span of 5 years. So he put in work. There's something for everything. Like there's high-pitched tones, there's low ones, there's jazz, there's like it's like pretty much inspiration from most musical genres. There's stuff of every like once again I mentioned intensity. He just did everything, and he didn't half-ass it. All these songs are different, like way different. And if anything's like a remix or like some sort of variation of another song, it's because thematically it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like some sort of play on another track, and that's just the way it is. But like this was all just done wonderfully, and I'm glad that he's pretty much set himself up to have a huge industry career, because like everybody in this game pretty much are really rising up in the near future, but like he especially, everybody's talking about him. Everybody's talking about this music, just like everybody's talking about this game, and I'm glad they're doing so. It's honestly so nice to have a new IP every once in a while. Like, I love Yakuza, and I love Monster Hunter and Devil May Cry and Resident Evil, but they have all been around for literally decades, and it's nice having a new game every once in a while that starts from scratch. You don't know any of these characters, you don't know anything about this world, you have nothing to suspend your disbelief going, oh, this 8th game, you expect me to believe everything that happened, this is going to happen like this? No. It was clearly a passion project, and you could see that they took a lot of inspiration from Final Fantasy, Persona, and a lot of others. This was clear, like, it was clear source inspiration. I've seen so many games where, like, it's basically a copy paste of another game system, and it's a complete ripoff. But no, it was like this person played this game 5 years ago, and then they're like, I want to add this to my game. And then they found a way to make it work in their game, their ways. I had a feeling this game would be good when I saw it the first time, I think during the Game Awards. And it looked cool. So like, I honestly, sometimes I will forget about it until like next time on like award show or some sort of like state of play, something like that shows it again. Then I remembered it until I think about maybe 10 months ago or so. That's when I finally like really got the name stuck in my head, and that was like when I really decided I may like this game. And I think about like 6 months ago, that's when I was like, I'm probably gonna buy this game. And I'm glad that people that usually don't pay attention to the same games I do, they saw this as what it was and have enjoyed the hell out of it. If from what you've seen and heard about this game does sound good, you may as well try to get it yourself. May try to just see what it's like. I know a lot of times games are hyped up. There are so many like every year, every 3 months, there's always this game that people just hype up as like the game of the century. And I'm not trying to say that. I'm saying I like this game. It's a good game. It's fun. You might enjoy it too. Oh shit, I just